Now, if you're anything like me, you probably stayed up the entire night thinking about Mariokart World's new metagame, which is definitely what's happening, right? Anyways, let's ignore the time. Oops. Doesn't help that I'm recording this for a second time now. Let's get right into it, guys. I don't want to edge you all day. So, lots of videos about this already dropped. The best card vehicle combination in Mariokart World. The best combination in Mariokart World. Top 5 winning card character combos. The best combo in Mariokart World. I don't know what this video is doing here. Good new unique, yeah, whatever. Now, great videos. Shout out to Austin John and stuff. However, I think there's a fundamental issue with a lot of the videos talking about the new combo in Mariokart World, and the one or two combos that are perceived to be meta worthy have a vital flaw, if you ask me. So, let me explain. If you look at the history of recent Mario Kart games, well, of all of the Mario Kart games, and especially the recent Mario Kart games, you will see that initially a lot of the best combos were combos like Koopa Trooper, like Toad, Yoshi, Baby Luigi, which had really good handling and really good acceleration. To be fair, in SNES, the best characters oftentimes actually are like Bowser and Donkey Kong Jr., but that's besides the point. Because these characters get on the road fast and they can take tight turns. However, stuff changed because this is not 30 years in the past. Actually, when I don't, dude, I was exaggerating, bro. Anyways, guys, Mariokart V came around, and all of a sudden, one of the fastest combos in the game is meta. Mario Kart 7, Metal Mario plus Dasher, right? Really fast combos. Mario Kart 8, right? You had Morton with a Dasher, and then, Waluigi Wiggler, followed by Yoshi on the Bitty Buggy. Now, the most important takeaway here is that either you want a combo that has fast acceleration and good handling, but sacrifices speed and weight, or you want to have a combo with high speed and high weight that sacrifices acceleration and all the other stuff, right? However, in this game, for some reason, a lot of people are arguing that an all-rounded combo is gonna be the best. This is not just JP Givener. Basically, every Mario Kart YouTuber has been using a combo like, like Vario on the baby blooper, or things like Toadette on the baby blooper, and there's nothing wrong with it. This is a great combo. However, the issue that I have with this is, historically speaking, in the recent Mario Kart games, as well as in the previous Mario Kart games, so all of the Mario Kart games ever, you always wanted to specialize in one certain aspect and sacrifice other ones. Now, for some reason, people are saying, oh my god, you want an all-rounded character. And I don't understand why. Maybe I'm missing something, right? So, let's look at the recent Mario Kart games and look what you actually want, right? In all of the combos in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, what you wanted is the best combination between speed and mini turbo, because mini turbo is the best stat in the game. It determines how long the boost you get after drifting or tricking or something else lasts, right? This is called a mini turbo. If you drift for a short time, you get like a blue mini turbo and then orange and then purple, right? In Mario Kart World, it's basically the same, with one big exception. Unlike in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the mini turbo stat is tied to acceleration, and it also doesn't change how long it takes to charge the mini turbo based on the mini turbo stat, right? So those are two big differences to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that make it so mini turbo arguably isn't the highest or most important stat anymore. However, before we talk about this, let's talk about what these stats actually do, right? Now, if you look at the standard card, this is a pretty balanced stat range, right? You have speed, acceleration, weight, and height? No, handling. So, what the best combination in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe looked a little bit something like, let me see, little bit something like, let's just use this as an example, right? Like the Bumblebee, you had like a really good speed stat, and then you had a really good mini turbo stat, right? Now it's same as in acceleration. However, you would sacrifice weight and handling somewhat. Now, a vehicle like this doesn't really exist in Mario Kart World, to my knowledge. So, that leaves the question, what is the best card and character combination? What do you want to do? So, like I said earlier, a lot of people are going over the world records and they're saying, hey, just use the world record build. However, lots of these people recognize that's not very good. Why? Now, if you want to use a world record combo, what you want to use is the real racer, for example, with a ton of speed that sacrifices a lot of acceleration and a lot of the other stats, right? Because acceleration in a time trial doesn't really matter. However, if you have 24 races, your acceleration really does matter because you're gonna get hit a lot, right? So what other people are doing is they're using the baby blooper, which got a lot of acceleration and a bit less speed. And I think the baby blooper is definitely a meta contender. However, not for the reason that a lot of people say it's gonna be, because a lot of people say, oh, it's so well rounded. But like I said earlier, I don't really think that's a good argument because that hasn't ever been the case in any Mario Kart game, and I don't see what changed in Mario Kart World that would change that fact. Again, correct me if I'm missing something, right? But from knowledge that we have right now, I don't think the baby blooper is gonna be better because what you want is if you want to take speed and acceleration, you would want to maximize those two stats and then not sacrifice in the other stats. Now, this is basically like in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where you optimized for speed and mini turbo, which is why you had Yoshi Biddy Buggy or Waluigi Wiggler as the best combinations. So, doesn't Baby Blooper already do this? Yes. Baby Blooper got a really good acceleration and a really good speed stat, and it doesn't really sacrifice that much in handling and weight, which is why we have characters like Wario on the Baby Blooper or like Toadette on the Baby Blooper be really good combos. Now, I think there is a way to maximize speed and acceleration while not sacrificing that much else. Now, what do I mean? Take a look at the Blastronaut 3. Now, lots of people are gonna be thinking, what the hell, this stupid vehicle? Hear me out. Like I said, you want to maximize speed and acceleration, right? So if you look at this, you got one more speed, however, you got the same acceleration, so it's already better than the baby blooper. Now, one thing to consider about the baby blooper is that you have a really small hitbox, which is another reason people really like it. But we're not gonna get into the nitty gritty right now because we don't know the hitbox sizes, we don't know all of the hidden stats like off-road, water speed, all of those things. We don't know anything about invincibility. What we do know is the weight and the speed of the characters. Shout out to Austin John again. So we can literally have one more speed on top of a baby blooper. However, we are sacrificing handling, right? As you guys can see, we have like 3 less handling, but then 1 more weight. However, hear me out, guys. I think handling doesn't actually make that much of a difference. Now, obviously, at this point, I already tried the combo that I think is gonna be the meta in Mariokart World, which, if you wanna know what that is, watch to the end of the video. Now, why don't I think handling matters? Well, Blastronaut is inside drifting, right? Which means it's really easy to turn with this vehicle. English is so difficult, guys. Stay with me. It's really easy to turn with this vehicle, so I don't think the low handling stat is gonna matter that much. However, the acceleration stat, which might arguably be the most important stat in Mario Kart World, because like I said, you are gonna get hit a ton, and it's also the mini turbo stat is really high with a blast node, as high as a baby blooper, but also you get 1 additional speed and you get an extra weight. Now, like I said, we have 24 players in Mario Kart World now, so I think the weight stat is gonna play a bigger role because it's gonna be less easy for the opponents to knock you off, right? Like, we are already seeing a ton of crazy tech get discovered in Mariokart World, and as people start to get better at the game, lots of people are going to go for the same shortcuts. So if you have a character with a high weight stat, you're actually going to have a really big advantage because you're going to get knocked less, and therefore it's going to be easier for you to nail the shortcuts without getting bumped, right? So now let's actually go into the game, and I'll show you the difference between the current meta combo and what I think is going to be the next meta combo, and then I'm going to go into different kind of like possible meta contenders as well. So these are the stats of Vario in the baby blooper. Very sexy outfit Vario. As you guys can see, like lots of people said, it's very well balanced. However, these are the stats of Bowser on the Blastonaut 3. As you guys can see, way less handling, way more speed, basically the same acceleration, and so much more weight, guys. So I'm arguing sacrificing this much handling isn't gonna be a big issue. And this combo got a really good mix of speed and acceleration, putting it above the baby blooper in my opinion. Now, the real question is, what costume Bowser is going to be rocking. Me personally, I think the off-road costume goes really well with a Blastonaut, even though my personal favorite is definitely the biker. But let's get into some other options. I also think Rosalina is gonna be a great character because you can sacrifice a bit of speed and a bit of weight for more acceleration. However, I would recommend you guys to go for the Flipster, which is what it's called in German. In English it's called Dolphin Dasher or the Coil Chopper, right? And if you want a bit more speed, you can go for the Rob Bike. So if you want to be a bit more stylish, maybe go for this combination. Now I think these are all definite meta contenders. Another definite meta contender is gonna be a combination that optimizes for acceleration and also handling, because you're gonna get a lot of mini turbos. However, you don't wanna sacrifice too much speed. So I think the W chopper is gonna be really good. Now guys, this is gonna be my video talking about what I think is gonna be the meta. Keep in mind, we don't know the hidden stats. However, even if I'm wrong, which I'm pretty confident, this is gonna be a really good combination to run. Like I said, the mixture between speed and acceleration is what's gonna make the meta. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're anything like me and stay up at 2 AM to think about Mario Kart, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Hope you guys enjoyed. Haut rein. Ciao.